Hey, you oldies, listen to the children. Listen and act.
It gave me a voice. It gave me a bigger platform.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 20th award ceremony of the International Children's Peace Prize. Your Excellencies, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are very welcome. And a special welcome to the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Tawakol Karman, and ambassadors from all over the world. It is significant to think about the number of dignitaries and officials from NGOs who are joining us here today. And of course, we also want to welcome our viewers from every corner of the globe who are watching us right now live streaming on Facebook, on big screens in Tokyo, New York, in Stockholm, and in London. And to the members of the international press who are gathered here with us today, you are all very welcome. And so those of you who are joining me in this amazing, historic, and wonderful setting, Nieuwekerk, New Church here in Amsterdam, be on your best behavior and look your best because the whole world is watching. Now, every year, the International Children's Peace Prize is awarded to a courageous young person who has made an exceptional difference in the rights of a child and the position of children anywhere in the world. And every year, the message of that winner is heard by hundreds of millions of people all around the world. In fact, last year, the message of that winner was heard by 3.2 billion people. It's something we're all very proud of. I'm sure you are too. We're also proud to tell you that this year, the 2024 International Children's Peace Prize winner was chosen by the KidsRights Committee unanimously. And so now, to begin our ceremony, I am pleased and honored to introduce to you Her Royal Highness, Princess Laurentien of the Netherlands. She's a courageous advocate for equality and social equity. She's a professional in her own right, and she has an impressive career in social innovation in both the Netherlands and internationally. She works tirelessly on youth empowerment, literacy, and human rights. She's an expert in dialogue between the decision makers and marginalized children who otherwise might not have their voice amplified, and not just for dialogue, but for real, concrete, citizen-led solutions for urgent systemic problems. She has the personal courage during this time to stand up for justice, inspiring us on the moral leadership that is so desperately needed to take on the challenges that our societies face today. So please, a warm welcome for Her Royal Highness, Princess Laurentien of the Netherlands.
Changemakers, Excellencies, dear friends, friends of human rights, might I say. And if I feel this church, it feels that even though we've just started this ceremony, it already feels like a ceremony of hope, a gathering of hope. And I feel that hope is what we so need in these times that may feel unsettling and uncertain. And today we celebrate yet another set of changemakers, young changemakers, at the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the International Children's Peace Prize. And it's initiated with vision and with determination by KidsRights, and I really want to applaud Mark Dullaert and the team and all the changemakers around the world for this achievement that you've putting this on the map. So let's start with an applause for that effort. And I must admit, I'm quite obsessed, might I say, with the notion of hope. And 4 years ago, I met with somebody in power who did not want me to stand up for justice and the rights of victims of quite a scandal in the Netherlands. And this person said, "Careful what you do, you might give people hope." Wow. I knew then, and I know now, that when somebody tells you that, you're on the right path. And I don't think that a child would ever tell you to stop from giving people hope. And I often wonder these days, what if people of all ages who aren't heard were heard and taken seriously? What would the world look like? And what would our lives look like if children ruled the world? It is often said that children are voiceless. I'm not sure that that's the case. Just look around us and just look at the change makers from around the world. Children have a voice. They have a lot to say about education, about biodiversity, about climate change, about poverty, about human rights. The question is, are they heard? Do we take these voices seriously? And do decision makers have the courage to listen, and not just listen, but actually change their positions and their decisions accordingly? The first winner, who we just saw on the screen, Nkosi, he said 20 years ago, "Care for us, accept us. We are all human beings." He is no longer with us, but his story of the courage that he has, of this remarkable 12-year-old, has inspired so many people since. And he's eternalized in the statuette that is now actually, that today's winner will actually receive. So again today, we again celebrate courageous change makers who fight for children's rights. And all nominees know that courage is not some abstract or distant notion. And actually, when we think about it, the etymological origins of the word courage comes from cor, which means in Latin, the heart. It's the heart. And when I think of the heart, I think of The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And he wrote, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." And that's what courage is all about. Courage is to stand up and to put to the fore what is invisible. That's where the discomfort lies when it comes to the ruling logic. And for me, courage is a personal decision to dare to look beyond the surface and rely on your heart to truly understand and appreciate what the truth is, and not be afraid to uncover it, whatever the personal price to pay. Because the truth is always the basis of hope, no matter how challenging the journey may be to achieve the truth. And for me, courage is also the collective will by society to take a step forward for the sake of equality and justice, even if the ruling logic says that you shouldn't. As William Penn said in the US, he said it wisely, "Right is right, even if everyone is against it, and wrong is wrong, even if everyone is for it." And I will end with a message to all my fellow adults here and around the globe. Let's accept it. We need the change-making courage of young people to lead on hope, not fear, to create, not to destroy, to solve problems and not stagnate, let it go backwards. So to all of you and all of us, if you are in a position of power, share it with young people. If they're shy or outspoken, share your power. Experience matters, but so does unconventional and unexpected thinking. I believe that we can all be courageous and uncover with our hearts what's invisible to the eye. Thank you.
Who lives in all of us.
In a world yearning for change, KidsRights celebrates 2 decades of young changemakers. Meet the remarkable individuals and groups honored as winners of the International Children's Peace Prize. Their inspiring stories keep hope alive.
You are normal? You are human beings.
In 2005, at the Nobel Peace Laureates Summit in Rome, we embarked on a transformative journey with the launch of the International Children's Peace Prize. Each year, under the guidance of Nobel Peace Prize winners, we honor a child change maker.
And have the right to go to school.
These young heroes embody the spirit of change.
Together and united, we are unstoppable.
20 stories, each spotlighting a different young hero who has transformed the world in their own unique way. The International Children's Peace Prize is recognized as the foremost global youth award.
We can and we will change the world.
Its winners' messages amplified by international media, touching millions worldwide each year. KidsRights celebrates her changemakers, 20 stories that change the world.
"20 stories, 20 individuals, 20 moments, and ongoing ripple effects of tremendous impact. It is so humbling to think about each of these individual winners and the incredible amount of change and joy that they are bringing to the world, isn't it? And then, of course, with that joy in mind, it is only fitting that we bring you now an ode to joy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pinarello Orchestra and the Conceitas Vocales Choir. And I have a special surprise for you. You will also be able to welcome 15 laureates of the International Children's Peace Prize.
Freude, Schüler, Götter, Funk,
literally and figuratively. And now, once again, to speak on behalf of these gathered laureates, I present to you your 2015 International Children's Peace Prize laureate, Abraham M. Keita.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, good evening. Oh my, I am scared out of my wits because I just found out a few minutes before the ceremony that I was to speak on behalf of all the past winners. So forgive me if this is a bit incoherent and clumsy. I'm sure my mom, who is watching, will also forgive me, as will my friends in the US, Dylan and his father, Sean. I stand before you today as a Liberian and as an African. I set my pride in the history and culture of my people. Despite hostile public opinions and negative descriptions of my continent, I would, without hesitation, choose Africa as the land of my birth if I were given an opportunity in the afterlife to come back into this world again. I also stand here as a member of the human race and a citizen of the world. I take pride in the marvelous achievements of every civilization and detest its shortcomings. Ladies and gentlemen, we live inside in dark times. We are living through the consequences of climate change and extreme poverty. Continues to ravage the lives of millions of people who are risking their lives to cross oceans and walk through dangerous jungles as they seek greener pastures in Europe and America. As human beings, we all desire life, liberty, and happiness. But it remains to be seen in our world today whether life, liberty, and happiness have been realized for all of humanity. We learn from the German philosopher Hegel that societies progress through conflict and contradictions. Or to put it in the terms of another German philosopher, Fichte, that historical progress is a thesis that generates its own antitheses, which are then joined in sentences. So while it may be true that earlier historical epochs have had conflicts and crises, the problems of humanity seem to be moving at an ever-increasing pace in our world today. Modern scientific and technological genius have created weapons of mass destruction. We must never forget the horrendous crimes against European Jews, or the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, or the Rwandan genocide. Even in this century, world leaders have opted to listen to their smart brains rather than their compassionate hearts, as they institute policies that bring about wars and increase human suffering. Come with me to Syria, to Yemen, Congo, Sudan, and Palestine, and you will not fail to see man's inhumanity to man. And sadly, regrettably, for the children of Gaza, happiness remains a dream to behold rather than a fact to be lived. Killed in their thousands and with bombs raining down on hospitals and schools, the world is killing children everywhere. This begs the question, at what point will enough be enough? At what point will we stop or end the hypocrisy and double standards? I'm a descendant of men and women who were farmers and hunters, who walked miles, crossed rivers, mastered the forest, and subdued wild animals, but who nevertheless believe in a common human dignity. I was taught by my single parent, my mother, who never saw the rectangular walls of a classroom, that the only race in the world is the human race. So today, I make an appeal on behalf of humanity to all of you here that the time has come when we must recognize to use Dr. Martin Luther King's words, that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I know many of you seated here today have acquired some form of education. So I'm appealing to you. No, I am begging you. Let us begin to cultivate the idea that knowledge is not power, but compassion. That love is the greatest virtue, and that peace lies at the very essence of our diversity. And that power is best exercised when we lift up the weak and not seek to destroy them. Let empathy and compassion become the rule rather than the exception. That is why I am glad to be here today with my fellow Children's Peace Prize winners to welcome the new winner into our family. We all come from different backgrounds and countries, but we all strive to make the world a better place. We do so against systems of oppression and injustice, but we keep marching ahead despite the odds. So join us as we create a more just and peaceful world for children around the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Abraham. If that is what you came up with just a little bit of preparation, I think I can speak on behalf of your mother that we are all very proud of you. But putting words into action is what all of these winners are about and what today's International Children's Peace Prize is also about. Thank you, all of you. The importance and recognition of the International Children's Peace Prize has grown tremendously over the years. Most importantly, it has had and continues to have a major impact on children's rights worldwide. The International Children's Peace Prize, of course, is the most powerful and impactful and prestigious youth prize in the world. Year after year, young winners like these you see right behind me have given voiceless children a voice, have amplified the voices of important issues for these children, and in their way have focused global attention on important children's rights and, dare I say, societal rights worldwide. Today, we are here, of course, gathered to give out the International Children's Peace Prize for 2024. Out of 165 nominees from 47 countries, the expert committee, advised by former winners, has made a selection of 3 finalists. They have made a difference for children's rights. And now let's introduce our first finalist, Adi Daive.
Every second, about 4 football fields worth of healthy land becomes degraded and low quality.
Now let's focus on one of our most precious resources, water. How do we preserve it? And can we make sure there is enough of it for our future generations?
By 2025, 2/3 of the world will be living in water-scarce conditions, and 1.8 billion people will be living in extreme water-scarce regions.
West Asian nations are now being battered by climate change and its consequences.
With a devastating water crisis.
This means more vulnerability to natural disasters like floods,
to droughts and wildfires.
People losing their homes. Do you know what that means for children? This has to stop now. Enough is enough, and I will fight for it. My name is Adi, and this is my story.
As Adi grew up, he often heard stories about the daily struggles his mother and other women faced, walking miles just to fetch a few liters of water. Determined to make a difference, Adi fundraised to provide rural women with water wheels. And this was just the beginning of his advocacy journey.
It was the start of me really looking for the depth of the problem and really searching for long-lasting, sustainable solutions to tackle the real problems that were water scarcity and desertification. तो अभी मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा कि 1 लीटर पद्धति से ये पौधा कैसे लगाया जाएगा. I ended up finding the 1 liter water technique or dryland agroforestry, which I thought would be a reliable technique to solve the problem of water scarcity, since it utilizes just 1 liter water per tree for its entire life to grow a sapling. It's important to plant these trees because they have a lot of long-term and short-term benefits. So some of the short-term benefits include vegetables for the children from nutritious midday meals in schools and providing fresh fodder for the cattle, which happen to be the center point of the village. In the long term, we are expecting the groundwater levels to increase and also to mitigate some of the climate change risks that we're currently seeing in the region, whether it be the harsh rainfall or the drought years that we currently experience. Chale? Chalo! So far, we have converted 25 acres of desert or wasteland into green cover, and that's approximately equivalent to 19 football fields. Through the organization, we have employed 250 people and 75 are youth in the region. Through our work, we have impacted 50,000 villagers and 10,000 children. This work is my purpose. This is my responsibility, and I don't think I'll ever stop.
Thanks to his dedication and remarkable achievements, Adi is now one of the finalists for the 2024 International Children's Peace Prize.
We are so grateful to Adi and his tireless dedication. Unfortunately, he is unable to join us today as he is ill. But Adi, if you were watching, and I hope you are live, we all wish you to get better soon, very quickly. And we can tell you, though, that our second finalist, all the way from San Francisco, California, is here with us today. Please join me in welcoming the story of Sarah Shelke.
Now let's switch gears here and go to a growing crisis. Children visiting ERs for issues related to their mental health has skyrocketed.
The enormous strain on the mental health care system.
Mental illness took my son Matthew's life.
1 in 5 children have a mental illness, and half of the mental illnesses have developed by the age of 14.
America's youth mental health crisis.
Youth with mental health disorders are most unlikely to be unhappy at school, be absent, be suspended, or expelled, and an increased risk of experiencing drug use or violence.
Let's look at the relationship between violence and mental illness.
This has to change right now.
Mental health.
Mental health. Mental health. Mental health.
Mental health.
With mental health.
Mental health.
The mental health crisis.
And I stand up to make a change for these children. My name is Sarah, and this is my story. At the age of 14, I heard news that a teen in another school near mine committed suicide, and that story for me was really heartbreaking, and it made me realize that I need to do something about the mental health crisis in my community and take action. So my first action was to start an Instagram account on social media to raise awareness through posts and videos, but eventually I realized that I want to do something more long-term that has a bigger impact in my community, and that's when I started Mine for Youth.
Through her organization, she provides accessible mental health resources to underserved youth, breaking down the systemic barriers that limit care. Her efforts have been met with great success. Today, the organization proudly serves over 10,000 youth members and volunteers across more than 40 countries.
We've been able to provide 150 teens with free therapy and counseling services around the world. And then the second part of our organization focuses on educating youth by promoting mental health awareness on social media and then also through our volunteering program.
Yeah, hey guys, do you need anything else, like boxes or the pink paper? So today we're here with 60 volunteers for our heart care program where we're making mental health kits, and each kit includes things like a BetterHelp voucher, which gives kids access to free therapy, things like slime, stickers, and mental health merchandise to kind of make kids have fun and think of mental health in a positive way.
She really inspires me. I mean, the way that she and Aishwarya founded this entire organization, which is one of now
the largest youth mental health organizations in the world. And she started it right here as a high schooler. That is absolutely amazing and super inspiring.
Sarah has also authored a book titled A Guide to Teen Mental Health, which has already reached over 30,000 young people. Thanks to her unwavering dedication to improving mental health resources, Sarah is now a finalist for the 2024 International Children's Peace Prize.
Making a real difference for our world in the area of youth mental health, Sarah Shelke.
Good evening, everyone. I'm incredibly honored to be recognized as a finalist for the International Children's Peace Prize. Over the past few years, suicide rates and mental health issues among teens have risen drastically. This is to the point where every 40 seconds, one teen loses their life to suicide. For me, mental health has played a close role in my life and has impacted those around me, including a family member who I witnessed go through depression when I was just 12 years old. Not soon after, I heard news of a teen near a school of mine that committed suicide when he was just 16 years old. Through my personal connection with those suffering with their mental health, at first I felt helpless, as there was no way I could turn back time to those who already suffered and lost their lives at such a young age. It was at this time that I saw how grief served as a shared emotion that can unite younger generations to initiate change together. Seeing that there were fewer youth-led initiatives to spread awareness about the mental health crisis, I felt compelled to take action. Through Mind for Youth, I realized that it was possible for me to make a difference by developing initiatives like a literacy program to provide educational resources for underserved youth, including youth of color and youth from low-income backgrounds or in poverty. For me, advocacy became a way to be a voice of the younger generation. When I was diagnosed with a GI disorder earlier this year, mental health struggles began to affect me more personally. I realized then that mental health doesn't just have one story, but it impacts everyone differently. My passion for advocacy drove me to connect with other youth and form a community within. With increased youth-led action, we can redefine how the world approaches mental health, not just as a taboo or an afterthought, but as a fundamental right for every child around the world. It is up to our next generation of young changemakers to stand up for the issues that we see happening and not just be bystanders, because it should not be grief that initiates change, but love. Thank you.
Two finalists who certainly deserve another round of applause. Thank you so much, Sarah. And of course, one more to hear from later in the program. And one of these three finalists will leave this place with the coveted Nkosi and be joining the family of the International Children's Peace Prize winners, many of whom you saw gathered earlier on the stage. But before we bring on the next special speaker, I'd like you to take a look at the first 10 years of creating and awarding this prestigious prize.
The International Children's Peace Prize is an initiative of the Dutch KidsRights Foundation. Every year, this prize is awarded to a child who bravely fights for children's rights anywhere in the world. In 2005, the first Children's Peace Prize was posthumously dedicated to Nkosi. During his short life, he pleaded for the rights of HIV and AIDS-infected children.
We are normal. We are human beings.
The next year, former child slave Om Prakash received the prize for his unceasing work to combat child labor and liberate child slaves in India. Tandiwu from Zambia won the prize in 2007 because of her extraordinary effort for the right to education for all children. Maíra battles against violence in Vila Cruzeiro in Brazil. She was therefore awarded with the 4th International Children's Peace Prize. Maíra received the prize from Nobel Peace Laureate Desmond Tutu.
Just look, there's a little angel who goes and wipes the tears from God's eyes.
Talvez querer paz seja o mais comum no cotidiano da favela de Vila Cruzeiro. Não somos dignos de pena. O mundo é digno de pena.
Barawani from the Democratic Republic of Congo won the prize for his work promoting children's rights in the refugee camp in Tanzania, where he lives. In 2010, Francia received the prize. She campaigns for the right to name and nationality of children in the Dominican Republic. Kaylee won the prize for her commitment to the rights of children with disabilities in South Africa.
A lot of disabled people can't physically voice what they need and what they deserve. And I can.
Desmond Tutu, patron of KidsRights and the International Children's Peace Prize, honored the winner of 2012. Kes received the prize for helping street children in the Philippines. In 2013, the prize was awarded to 16-year-old children's rights activist Malala.
I want to live in a world where education is valued in every corner of the globe and no one is excluded from it.
Neha received the prize in 2014 for her inspiring work helping orphaned and underprivileged children in both India and the United States, where she lives.
My message to the world is to convert empathy into action and make a difference in other people's lives.
These young heroes have shown extraordinary resilience and courage, making a lasting impact on children's rights. But their legacy continues as new changemakers rise to take on the world's most urgent challenges.
So inspiring. That an idea, a dream, could become what it is today. And a look back at those 10 years I know is impactful to each of you, as much as it is to the winners who were profiled, many of you who are here. For KidsRights and those laureates that you saw already, the children's rights and the positions of children in our world today are our first priority. And that is why we are so honored to have in our midst the chair of the UN Children's Rights Committee, Anne Skelton.
It's an honor to introduce a global leader in children's rights whose dedication has changed countless lives. Professor Anne Skelton. For over 30 years, Anne has tirelessly advocated for children, fighting for their rights in courts, classrooms, and communities worldwide. As a renowned human rights lawyer, she has dedicated her career to amplifying the voices of the most vulnerable. Anne's work has shaped landmark child protection policies, and her leadership in the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child continues to impact millions. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to the incredible Anne Skelton.
Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, the amazing International Children's Peace Prize laureates, distinguished guests, colleagues, students, and of course, children and young people. Greetings to all of you. That was quite an emotional video that we watched previously, because I also heard my national anthem there and saw many South African heroes. I am absolutely delighted to be here today at this special 20th edition of the International Children's Peace Prize, and I want to thank KidsRights for the amazing work that they do. Tomorrow is the 35th birthday of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. That important document sets out the rights of children that countries around the world have promised to respect, protect, and fulfill. It is the only human rights convention that mentions the word love. And actually, 2 of our speakers today have already used the word love. But the preamble to the Convention on the Rights of the Child says that a child should grow up in an atmosphere of happiness, love, and understanding. It also says that children should be brought up in the spirit of peace, dignity, tolerance, freedom, equality, and solidarity. This is crucial for us to remember on the day when the International Children's Peace Prize is being presented. As we all know, wars around the world are having a devastating impact on children right now. And we need the creative minds of the upcoming generation to help us find solutions, to lead us towards peace. The children's rights movement actually grew out of the suffering of children during and at the end of the First World War. A visionary leader, Laurentien, founded the organization Save the Children because she was so worried about the suffering of children, including the enemy's children. And she also drafted the first ever Declaration on the Rights of the Child, which was adopted in 1924, and that's exactly 100 years ago this year. So this is a year of commemorations, it seems. Laurentien famously said, "Every war is a war against children." And I must say, her words are ringing in our ears today. The Convention on the Rights of the Child is also an important document because it doesn't only see children as rights holders, but it also demands that states, parents, everyone listens to the views of children. Now, children speaking up, even in protest, is not new. We can actually look at examples from the 1800s of child laborers standing up for their rights. And we also know of cases where children fought for the right not to be beaten at school more than 100 years ago. But it is true that in recent years, children standing up as human rights defenders has definitely intensified. And what we see that is so interesting is that they are fighting not only for their own rights, they do that, but they also fight for the rights of all of us. And even they take on the responsibility of fighting for the rights of future generations. Think of the environment and climate change, which children have pushed to the front of the agenda. And they are saying, we need to preserve our environment because we need to preserve it for future generations. So all of this is incredibly inspiring. And what we've seen today and what we know is happening, led by these incredible young people around the world, does leave us with a sense of hope. And I will use that word. We need their out-of-the-box thinking. This is the kind of thinking that children can bring. We need their belief that things can be better and that nothing is impossible. And that brings me to today's event. What an invigorating occasion to recognize the achievements of children who are bringing their energy and talent to the project of changing the world. May they strive.
Thank you so much to Ann Skelton, and thank you to each of you. And I will echo this word, hope, because that is something that each of the finalists and the winners of the International Children's Peace Prize have in common. This hope leads to drive, the drive leads to action, and then the action, of course, results, thankfully, in an impact. And it is this impact that we all join together in celebrating and commemorating. And before we get to another step on our journey of remembering 20 years of this impact and moving one step closer to announcing the winner of this year's International Children's Peace Prize, I would like you to think about and reflect on the impact that you would like to see in the world, the impact that you hope for, important word. And so please, ladies and gentlemen, for a musical interlude, join me once again to welcome the Consensus Vocalis and the Pinarello Orchestra. Such powerful, poignant music, of course, Lux Anterna by Sir Edward Elgar. You have watched the first 10 years of the International Children's Peace Prize, and now please give your attention to the past 10 years.
Now we continue with the stories of more young leaders honored by the International Children's Peace Prize. These inspiring champions lead movements, fight for children's rights, and make a powerful impact in their communities and beyond. On the 9th of November 2015, the prize was awarded to Abraham Keita. Keita leads the fight for children's rights and justice in Liberia.
My dream is to see a world where every child will receive justice.
Let's go!
In 2016, the prize was awarded to Kekishan Basu from the United Arab Emirates for her extraordinary work as an environmental activist. In 2017, Malala Yousafzai presented the prize to Mohammed El-Jundi. Mohammed is a Syrian refugee who fled to Lebanon with his family when life became too dangerous at home. Determined to fight for the right to education, he started a school in a refugee camp. The March for Our Lives initiators demand safe schools and safe communities.
We can and we will change the world.
They are true changemakers and were therefore awarded the 2018 International Children's Peace Prize. 2019 was the year of Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg and of peace activist Davina Malum from Cameroon.
We need to act. It's time for change.
They both received the International Children's Peace Prize for their fight for a safer and more sustainable world for their generation.
Together and united, we are unstoppable.
The 2020 winner is Bangladeshi social innovator Sadat.
There is a superhero who lives in all of us. Let's work together and make this world peaceful.
Sadat is an inspiration for today's youth. He's calling on young people all over the world to stop cyberbullying.
In 2021, Vihan and Nav from India won the prize for their initiative, One Step Greener. They tackled waste pollution in Delhi, recycling over 173,000 kilograms of waste and planting 1,000 trees.
Take the plunge. Now, there is no time to waste. Action has to be taken. Every step really does count.
Rina from Japan received the 2022 prize for her work against educational and social injustices.
As a child in my country, you don't have a voice. And the consequences are devastating. Too many young people have taken their own lives.
World leaders, be open to disturbances. Be open to uncomfortable conversations from youth, for we are not fighting against you.
In 2023, the ceremony took place at the Palace of Whitehall in London. Ukrainian teens Sofia, Anastasia, and Anastasia were honored for developing a mobile app to support refugee children. At just 16 and 17, the girls were deeply moved by stories of children crossing borders alone as refugees.
We hope to be a beacon of hope for all the refugee children out there.
The Children's Peace Prize is not only a sign of recognition for these young winners. KidsRights offers them a platform to promote their message, reaching hundreds of millions of people worldwide. They set a great example of how children can move the world.
Our next speaker is a person for whom drive turned into action, which turned into what you are all experiencing right now. The founder and the chair of the KidsRights Foundation and this your International Children's Peace Prize. Please join me in the warmest of welcomes. for Mark Dullaert.
Dear Princess Laurentien, dear Tawakol Karman, dear Skelton, wonderful Children's Peace Prize winners, great finalists, distinguished guests, welcome. Welcome and thank you for coming to celebrate the 20th International Children's Peace Prize together. Also a big thank you to the City of Amsterdam for hosting and supporting us this year. And we just saw some highlights from our history, and I forgot something. It's something miraculous under my chair. I try to build up the tension, Bo. So we just saw some highlights from our history, important moments, and these inspiring stories, this impressive history is written down now so that its message can travel around the world and it can encourage as many people, and especially young people, as possible. So KidsRights is really very proud to present Changemakers, 20 stories that changed the world. And this is the hard copy, but we, as the KidsRights board, decided that the online copy is free all over the world for children and youth under 25. So this message should travel. So, please, let's present this book. Well, they're already curious to the Children's Peace Prize winners. It's your stories, after all. It's yours. So, enjoy. And it was written by Inge Ikink and Julius Dullaert, who worked for free and a year long tirelessly on this amazing Jubilee book. Julius and Inge, thank you very much. Maybe you could think 20 stories that changed the world. And the question is, did they change the world? And is it possible to change the world for the better? The answer is simple. Yes, they did. And yes, it is possible to change the world into a better place. These stories show us that if you dare to stand up and make a difference, no matter how small it is, it really matters. It's like planting a seed that will blossom. Some examples. Greta started a strike at her school just on her own. Malala protested against the school ban for girls, starting in her village. Last year's winners, both Anastasias and Sofia from Ukraine, built an app for child refugees across time zones, only connected by the internet while on the run themselves. And ladies and gentlemen, there are many more examples of Children's Peace Prize winners who decided to act, not knowing where it would bring them or where it would end. So they all made a change, and most of them initiated a snowball effect beyond their imagination. These young moral leaders started to change the world bottom up. They did not wait for government leaders or institutions. They felt personal responsibility and just got started and showed how young people can make an impact. Here next door to the Nieuwe Kerk is the Royal Palace. And on its roof is a gigantic statue. It is Atlas, the Greek Titan who is carrying the world. He's carrying the globe on his back. And it is his fate to carry the world. He is powerless, and he accepts the situation as it is. I think we, all of us, also often feel powerless with everything that is happening around us and what we read in the daily news. And that's understandable. Also, the Children's Peace Prize laureates often felt powerless during their journey. But instead of accepting and just carrying and accepting the world as it is, they started to push, to move the world like the Children's Peace Prize statuette is expressing. I think each day, each moment, we can make a choice. Are we just carrying, or do we let others carry? Or are we choosing to push the world? Push the globe together with our own children. Push the globe together with our family and friends. Push the globe together with the current generation and for generations to come. So push the globe together in the right direction. And these Children's Peace Prize winners are not alone in their longing to make the world a better place. Tomorrow, on the 20th of November, Ms. Skelton mentioned it, very important date. On the occasion of our Jubilee, we have our State of Youth International Youth Summit also here in Amsterdam with 400 youth participants from the Netherlands and many youth leaders online from all over the world. And I can tell you, in all corners of the world, youth is worried. Worried about the wars, the climate, and worried about their prospects. Because they want to participate and they want to have change for the better. And they are fed up with many foolish decisions they are confronted with, and with the consequences that they have to bear in the future, and so they decided to act. KidsRights launched State of Youth in 2019 at the United Nations in New York. And this borderless youth state grew rapidly and is becoming a real movement. It's present now in 47 countries and operates with nearly 300 youth-led chapters to bring positive change for children's rights in communities. Maybe you could think, is this really helpful, given the scale of the problems the world is facing? Yes, it is. It is change bottom up. It is the choice and the hope for change. And we are all invited to join at home, at school, at our workplace, in our community. We are invited not to carry and to accept, but to push. Finally, I really like to thank all our Children's Peace Prize winners, our young changemakers in the field, our Nobel Peace Laureates, all our partners and friends, our family, our staff, our board, our sponsors, City of Amsterdam, H&M. I'd like to thank you for the bottom of my heart for helping to push the globe now and for generations to come. As our late patron Desmond Tutu put it, and that's why I'm also so happy that Mepo, that you are here. Your father said very wisely, all these little bits of good put together, that will overwhelm the world. So today, we have many reasons to celebrate and also to be grateful. Two important persons in our history are not here. Our patron, Desmond Tutu, and our first Children's Peace Prize winner, Nkosi Johnson. But I'm convinced that they watch us from heaven. They meant a lot to us. And to honor them as a tribute, I would like to ask you to rise while the Soweto Gospel Choir will sing their national anthem, Nkosi Sikelezi I Afrika, live from Johannesburg.
Nkosi sikeleli Afrika, maluphakanyisa uphondo lwayo, izwa imithandazo yethu. Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo, murena buluka sitshaba sa Yesu, ufedise bintwali mathwenyeho. Usibuluke sitshaba sa Yesu, sitshaba sa South Africa. South Africa. Ediplofa nonse yeme, editite fanonsie, orusieme chechebet, fanigranse anvotke, sounds a call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us dream and strive for freedom in South Africa.
Thank you so much. Coming to you live from South Africa, the Soweto Gospel Choir. The thoughts of hope, the thoughts of impact, the thoughts and the actions that drive changemakers. I can now introduce to you the story of our third finalist, Nila.
A new law has been passed saying that women must cover their face and body completely if they leave the house, and their voices cannot be heard in public.
Women's rights are under threat in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan, women have been stripped off everything. Their education, their freedom of movement, their right to work, their choice of what to wear. This is a grave injustice that denies them their basic right. They deserve more. It's time for a change. My name is Nila, and this is my story. It's always been challenging to live in Afghanistan with the 4-decade war that's been going on. Although there were challenges, it was still nice to be able to have the right to go to school, the right to just go out freely without needing a man to escort you. Know that I can pursue the hobbies that I want without anyone stopping me.
Schoolgirls have been banned from singing in public, a decree that reminds Afghan women of the oppressive Taliban regime.
Hearing that, I was furious because, what is the reasoning?
Refusing to be silenced, Nila recorded herself singing a powerful protest song at the age of 13. Her video went viral, and this act of vocal activism played a crucial role in overturning a controversial law just weeks later.
So that was the first time that I thought, wow, if I do want it, if I do think this is the way I want to live, I can speak up, and that can be accepted.
The Taliban is in control of Afghanistan.
After the fall of Afghanistan, Nila was 15 years old at that time, and was forced to flee with her family, seeking refuge in Pakistan for 9 long months, unsure if they'd ever find safety again. Eventually, they found a new home in Canada, but Nila's activism didn't end there.
So I created her story, interviewing other girls.
Action.
This is Nila, and today I'm accompanied by a lovely group of 6 Afghan girls here writing articles, but with the single focus of sharing their stories, putting them into light. And I think my hope is to keep that community of strong Afghan girls alive through sharing my story.
As I stand here today,
Her voice has resonated across the globe.
it is our collective responsibility to be their hope, to stand with them, and to take action.
Shared at companies, organizations, and political meetings.
Our most important message for ourselves, to girls that I interview or to other Afghan girls listening, is to keep our hopes alive and to really demonstrate that if we're given an opportunity, we can make the best out of it.
The ban on schooling beyond primary education for girls by the de facto authorities, Taliban in Afghanistan, has led to the exclusion of 80% of Afghan girls and young women from schools, which is a staggering 2.5 million.
I think my ongoing goal is, of course, to overturn these laws. It seems really a big of an ask right now, but I think it is possible. And because I do believe in the possibility, I'm working every day for it.
Nila has truly made an impact, and that's why she is one of the finalists for the 2024 International Children's Peace Prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have almost arrived to the announcement of the 2024 International Children's Peace Prize winner. Are you excited? In a few moments, we are going to reveal the winner. Is it Adi, Sarah, or Nila? Each year, as I mentioned at the very beginning of our time together here, the young winner inspires hundreds of millions of people worldwide, and, most important of all, impacts the world itself, demonstrating that change is possible. The winner of the International Children's Peace Prize, of course, receives this statuette, the Nkosi, named after the first winner, Nkosi Johnson, as you heard Mark share a moment ago. And each year, it is uniquely sculpted by Inga Iniki. And it does show, as you can see, that child pushing a seemingly immovable globe, and yet it moves. It is impacted. The winner also receives the Desmond Tutu Study and Care Grant to enable him or her to obtain an education. And furthermore, KidsRights also provides a 100,000 euro grant for the International Children's Peace Prize winner for projects which are invested by KidsRights. Those projects are closely connected, of course, to the winner's area of dedication and impact. Over the past 19 years, as you've seen in the videos, KidsRights has directly supported more than 100,000 vulnerable children around the world. And it is a tradition that each year, a Nobel Peace Prize laureate awards the International Children's Peace Prize, because the International Peace Prize was launched by KidsRights during the World Summit of the Nobel Peace Prize laureates in 2005 in Rome. And that connection between the International Children's Peace Prize and the Nobel Peace Prize, and the connection of the adult laureates and the young people advocate for change laureates, is powerful. And so today, our Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Tawakol Karman.
Tawakol was the first Arab and the second Muslim woman to win a Nobel Prize, and at the age of 32, the youngest Nobel Peace Laureate ever. The three laureates, all women and all mothers, are united by their non-violent struggle for women's rights and their protests against injustice and dictatorship. The prize was awarded in the hope that it will help to bring an end to the suppression of women that still occurs in many countries. When given equal opportunities, they can realize their great potential for democracy and lasting peace in the world.
I have a special introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been told I need to give an additional special introduction because this is such a powerful and important and caregiving person that you are worthy of this. So please, we are going to announce the winner of this year's International Children's Peace Prize to read the jury report for 2024. I do want you to please note and commemorate and honor that she is also a member of the KidsRights Expert Committee and has been a part of this unanimous decision.
Yes.
And so we are so delighted. Once again, Tawakol Karman, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon all of you. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so honored that I am member of the expert committee of the International Children Peace Prize. So really, really, I am so honored, and I'm so honored that I choose some of you. So we have to have a lot of chat after this ceremony. So I will start with the announcement, then I will end with a few remarks from me. So the expert committee congratulates the finalists of the International Children's Peace Prize 2024. Sarah Shelke from USA. Yes, Sarah. Adi Daive from India. And Nila Ibraimi from Afghanistan, for their tireless and timely efforts to advance the rights of children. Those three kids are remarkable, and we are waiting a lot from three of you. So no matter who is the winner, all of you are the winners, and all of you are the real leaders of the current and tomorrow. It is not just tomorrow, you are the leaders of the current. So, after thoughtful consideration and discussion, are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, I can sit. Okay. After thoughtful consideration and discussion, the expert committee has decided to award the International Children's Peace Prize 2024 to Nila Ibraimi from Afghanistan. Woo! Stand up. And big applaud also to our other winners, which is Sarah and Adi, but the first is Nila. So thank you, you can have this to sit again. Nila. Nila has been a fearless advocate for the rights of girls and women facing discrimination. She defied the ban on school girls from singing by starting the singing movement in Afghanistan with her powerful protest song and her beautiful voice. Facing the government to repeal the discriminatory ban within 3 weeks. expert committee, which is I am a member of, the expert committee appreciates Nila's courage as she stood tall against all odds, even after the Taliban came to power. Despite being forced to flee from Afghanistan, Nila didn't give up her fight. Nila didn't give up her fight. And Nila didn't lose hope. Through her advocacy, efforts, and her initiatives, her story, Nila became the face and voice of all Afghan girls and women whose education and participation rights are being violated. Nila's fight is even more important now as the new discriminatory laws in Afghanistan ban girls and women from speaking, singing, and hearing in public. For her remarkable initiatives and fearless advocacy efforts to fight for the rights of millions of girls on behalf of the expert committee, I congratulate you, Nila Ibraimi, for winning the International Children's Peace Prize 2024. So, yes, I'm so proud of you, Nila, and I'm proud of every girl around the world. Fight, sacrifice, struggle for her dream, for education, for healthcare, for environment, for justice, for peace, for equality, for rule of law. And we have a lot of models around the world. And we, as expert committee, had a very, very, very strong stories. All of them deserve to be the winners. All of them. So big applaud to all the kids around the world who are really making the change. Really making the change. And always they ask me, there is a lot of chaos in the world, and why are you so optimistic in the future? Because I know those young people who were children before, and still some of you. And those children, they are the one who will lead the future. All these children around the world, they really, really carry the responsibility. They care about the responsibility and, care about the future of their societies and the world. And Nila, we had a lot of nominees from Afghanistan. A lot of nominees. And they are really, really brave. Really brave. Some of them are boys. Most of them are girls. And really, when we were discussing, the names, there was some concerns about their situation in Afghanistan. They are in Afghanistan. So we were really concerned about them. So now you represent them. Those courageous, those brave girls and boys in Afghanistan who fight for justice, for equality, for freedom, for education, for healthcare, for development, and for love. So keep going in this method and don't give up. Don't give up. You represent them, and you, all of you, Sarah, Adi, hello Adi in India. I'm so proud of you. And you, continue your rule on this method. And again, when we honor you, when we give you your prize, we decided that those young people will be the leaders of the future, the real leaders, the real ruler of the future. So let me tell you about Taliban, that Nila fought against their discrimination. Taliban is preventing girls and women from education, from basic rights in Afghanistan. Not just girls and education, all the Afghan people are really, really suffer from these extremist people. Really suffer from them. Especially girls and women, who is prevented from everything, especially from education, because they are afraid from women. They are afraid from the voice of women, the voice of girls. So all kind of human rights violation is based there in Afghanistan. And those fanatics in Afghanistan, there is another fanatic in Iran. In Iran, Malali. So who also deprive women from their rights and deprive Iranian people from their rights. So there is two fanatics, two faces of fanatics. And I wanted to say that this as a Muslim. Those fanatics doesn't represent Muslims and doesn't represent Islamic teachings. They attack the values of Islam. Islam is a religion of peace, of love, of coexistence, and moderation. Every religion, unfortunately, has some kind of fanatics like Taliban, like mullahs in Iran. Every religion and every countries. But those fanatics doesn't represent people, great people like you. So Taliban doesn't represent Muslims people. At the same time with the Iranian regime and Iranian mullahs. And now as Nila and all her colleagues are fighting extremists for education, for girls, we have to know that there is many girls, women, children around the world are suffering from another kind of oppression, wars, occupation, oppression. Those three things, they are attacking women and girls, their lives from the first place, and then their education right and health right, etc. So wars, oppression, occupation, really attack people, and the most important one who is really being the victim of this is, most of them, women and girls. War in Gaza, in Palestine. War in Ukraine, in Sudan, in Lebanon. Oppression in my country, Yemen. In Congo, and everywhere. The war, conflict, oppression, injustice, occupation, and extremism and terrorism, the first thing that I attack is the human rights and the education rights. Because of that, the first thing that they destroy schools, universities, and they attack the rights of women and girls and children to access to education. So what we should do is to stop wars, to stop extremism, to stop occupation, and we have to be one hand in this field. Lastly, we are here in Netherlands, a very important country. I am so proud of it. Very important country that hosts two important international institutions. International Criminal Court and the International Court for Justice. So you Netherlands people, you people here in Holland, you have to do a lot of effort to make these two institutions to work very hard for stopping wars and hold the war criminals accountable. I believe in you, and I think Netherlands should really be very serious in this method. Thank you so much, and congratulations, Nila. Congratulations, all of you, and thank you so much. Thank you
so much, Tawakol. If you will stay here for just a moment, I would like to please, once again, thank you for Tawakol Karman. We are going to present the award in a special way for you this evening. So please welcome on stage your 15 International Children's Peace Prize laureates. Please join us on stage, won't you? The embodiment of the hope, the drive, the energy, the passion, the conviction to not accept things as they are, to keep fighting when many others would give up. Thank you to these incredible inspirations. And now please join us on stage, your 2024 International Children's Peace Prize winner, Nila. So when she comes up, then we'll start. As she begins to come on stage, if you would take it, and Nila, if you would come forward with Tawakol, we are going to have each one of these laureates pass it forward from one person, the earliest winner, on to the next, symbolizing the passing of not only this statuette, the Nkosi, but the meaning of what it is to be a part of this prestigious family and the commitment to changing the world.
Hang on, who will be able? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yeah, I can help her.
A very important moment. We want to make sure that the international press members and photographers and each of you can have this moment to witness Nila and Tawakol Karman together. Your 2024 International Children's Peace Prize winner. All right. When you are ready, I will ask the amazing laureates to please rejoin your seats. And thanks once again to the expert committee member, Tawakol Karman. And Nila, if you will stay, we will get the words from this year's International Children's Peace Prize, Nila.
Your Royal Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I am deeply honored to stand on the stage receiving the 2024 International Children's Peace Prize. This award represents the bravery of all Afghan women, both in Afghanistan and beyond, who have shown time and again that no restriction, no oppression, and no hardship can silence them. First, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who has supported me. To my family, friends, and mentors, and everyone out there standing in solidarity with Afghan girls, thank you. I must admit, I don't feel I deserve this award. Because activism for Afghan girls or anyone who has lived through injustices is not a choice. It's a necessity. But I'm grateful that my activism can serve as a reminder to keep Afghanistan's girls at the heart of our global priorities. It's a privilege not only to speak on behalf of the girls in my country, but to use this opportunity to speak directly to them. So to all Afghan girls listening, خواهران شجاع و عزیزم، ما شما و مبارزه الهام بخشتان را می‌بینیم و صدای پرقدرت شما را می‌شنویم. شما فراموش نشده اید و هرگز فراموش نخواهید شد. هرگز اجازه ندهید تاریکی و سیاهی جهل و نفرت نوری که در قلب‌هایتان دارید را خاموش کند یا آرزوهایتان را از شما بگیرد. نگذارید این سختی‌ها شما را از قدرت و حقیقتتان دور کند. زیرا این همان چیزی است که آنها می‌خواهند. ما در این روزهای دشوار در کنار همدیگر می‌ایستیم. من به ما، به قدرتمان و به رویاهای زیبایمان ایمان دارم. هیچ چیزی نمی‌تواند ما را متوقف کند. And as Maulana Muhammad Jalaluddin Balkhi, also known as Rumi, said, این چراغی است که تو افروختی، نه باد است آن را، نه باران را قدرتی. Which translates to, this is a light you have kindled, neither the wind nor the rain holds power over it. This light is our strength, our truth, and our dreams. Never let anyone take it from us. I learned this lesson when Kabul fell, a moment that shattered my worldview. I thought, this is not the world I imagined. I still feel this way at times, but I have learned to find light in the darkness. For me, that light is the resilience of Afghan girls. Those who fight against injustices refuse to be silenced and hold on to the Afghanistan they remember and the Afghanistan they dream of building. And if there is one message the girls of my country would want me to share with the world, it's this. The world can be a scary place, but don't let these cruelties fade your light. Your light can brighten the world, or at least shine on a little corner and make a change. Whether it's the cause of girls' education that resonates with you, gender inequality, participation rights of girls, or any other pressing causes, know that your actions towards building a better world, whether big or small, do matter. If you can build a school or educate even one girl, you've made a difference that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't taken action. That said, there's no better time to act than now. Every minute, every hour, every day, the lives of girls deprived of education slip away. When I left Afghanistan, I was in grade 9. Now, 3 years later, I'm in grade 12, preparing to graduate and go to university. My friends back home, however, are still in grade 9. Their lives frozen in time. Knowing this, how can we stand by and do nothing? I hope, and can only hope, the plight of girls' education in Afghanistan doesn't become just another news headline we glance over. I dream of a day when we no longer have to say women's rights are human rights, only to prove a point that should be obvious. The world has stood by as an entire country banned girls from an education for 3 years in a row. We can't let turning a blind eye to women's suffering become the norm. Because when we tolerate women's suffering anywhere. We open the door to women's suffering everywhere. My activism journey began at 13 with the song Buro Bakhair Ba Maktab, which translates to go to school. When Afghanistan's Minister of Education banned girls from singing, I protested and found my voice in music. 2 weeks later, the ban was lifted. Since then, I have come to believe in the power of music to inspire change. And so, I will sing that same song today, with the hope that we can one day chant to this song and celebrate the return of all Afghan girls back to school. This song is for the girls of my country, for girls around the world, and for everyone with a voice in the fight for women's rights. To a brighter future for all women worldwide. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Nila. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this year's International Children's Peace Prize. Special thanks, of course, to the incredible inspirational speakers, Your Royal Highness, Excellencies. We are so grateful to everyone on the staff who worked so hard to make this possible. A special thank you, of course, to Mark Dullaert and the KidsRights Foundation. This was the award ceremony of the International Peace Prize for 2024. We do invite you to stay for the reception, and we do invite you to take care of one another and to have your voice be heard. And of course, speaking of voices, Nila talked about the importance of giving voices through music to women and children who do not have that voice otherwise. And so before we go, as her brother Munir has joined her on stage, I ask you to raise your attention, think about your own impact of your voice, and now let's give the floor and our ears and our hearts, as the little prince said, to Nila.
با مکتب درس بخون دختر جان به تو نیاز داره افغانستان دختر جان برو بخیر با مکتب درس بخون دختر جان به تو نیاز داره افغانستان دختر جان زنگ مکتب میخوانه دن 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 با درس نو میشه زندگانی رنگ رنگ برو بخیر به مکتب برو بخیر به مکتب برو بخیر به مکتب برو بخیر به مکتب درس بخون دختر جان به تو نیاز داره افغانستان دختر جان برو بخیر به مکتب درس بخون دختر جان به تو نیاز داره افغانستان دختر جان زنگ مکتب میخوانه دن 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 با درس نو میشه زندگانی رنگ رنگ برو بخیر به مکتب برو بخیر به مکتب They told you to be silent and the bells are ringing all day long. I can see the fighter, she's still there. Hear the voices echo everywhere. برو بخير بمكتب درس بخون دختر جان. Hear the voices echo everywhere. بطونی یاستاره افغانستان دختر جان. Hear the bells are ringing everywhere. زنگ مکتب میخوانه دم دم دم. Hear the voices echo everywhere. برو بخیر بمکتب.